Well, that was a movie. Hello and welcome back to First Thoughts. I'm Simon, this is Justin, and today we're giving our first thoughts on Weapons, the new film by Cregger and his follow-up to his debut film, Barbarian, which had widespread praise, but not from us. So I was excited to see this, but I was also skeptical because this was also getting a lot of praise, but I was a little bit nervous it was going to be like Barbarian, which I just didn't love, frankly. If you haven't seen the trailers for this, it centers around a small town where 17 middle schoolers, elementary schoolers,
Let's go elementary.
10 to 12, somewhere in that range,
Yeah.
all suddenly at 2:17 a.m. one random night get up and all Naruto run
Yes.
away.
It's the fastest way to run. It's aerodynamic.
And there seems to be no explanation. This movie is starring Julia Garner, Josh Brolin, Alden Ehrenreich, Benedict Wong, and then there's this kid. There's one kid left behind who's played by Carrie Christopher. It's presenting like it's supposed to be kind of a psychological horror movie, but it's kind of a few different genres, honestly. I'll get more to what I mean by that in the spoiler section, but initial impressions, I think I like this, but I'm still on the fence about it because I kept expecting something else. But that's not always a bad thing. How are you feeling, Justin?
I definitely enjoyed it. I enjoyed it more than Barbarians. I don't feel like I enjoyed...
Which Barbarians?
Oh, wait, was that...
Just Barbarian.
What?
There's only
Barbarian,
one.
yeah.
One Barbarian.
Well, you know, Barbarians, it's a franchise. It's fitting.
Yeah.
But,
It's like Aliens.
exactly.
Now there are two of them. This is getting out of hand. Two naked grandmas in the basement. Although, actually, the commentary is that the Barbarian is the man. Anyway.
Yeah, I don't feel like I'm enjoying it as much as the internet is.
Yeah.
But I guess that's typical for us.
Not always. I also think there's potential to enjoy this movie more after we talk about it or even rewatch it or something. And I do want to talk about it because I haven't fully formed my opinion yet, which is always fun when I turn on a camera and don't know what I'm going to say.
Yeah, I will say
God, I can't do it. This is fucking hot.
It's a couple minutes in.
Why is it so hot? I spent the last week in Vegas and it was 110 degrees on average when I was there, but there's no humidity.
It's so beautiful, isn't it?
Well, I wouldn't say beautiful. The lack of humidity is. The 110 is still bad, but at least you can just find shade or something.
I didn't expect this to go really anywhere. I mean, at a certain point, you start to understand the gist of it.
Yeah.
Never really fully explained. Quite abrupt ending, but you know.
It was a bit abrupt and it was a bit unsatisfactory to me. Not just the ending, but throughout. Like I said, this isn't really just a straight horror movie. There's other elements to it. I would say it leans heavily into mystery at times. And I think to its own detriment, because when it was doing the horror stuff was when I had the most fun. The mystery, I couldn't really care about. Tried to, didn't. It's also very funny at times, and I enjoyed that comedy.
Yeah.
I think that also came, though, at the detriment to the horror, because if I'm laughing, I'm not scared.
No, the very ending of this movie is hilarious. It is so freaking funny.
Yeah.
It kills all whatever tension was built
Yeah.
up before that one character left the house.
Which is an issue I had with Barbarian, too, was like, you know, and I think it's been long enough we can talk about spoilers in this about Barbarian, but if you haven't seen that, and you're sorry. But, like, with that, the whole naked grandma thing, which I was nervous they were going to do in this, they didn't. There's still an old lady involved, though. So, Cregger has issues with old women. I don't know what that is psychologically, but he's scared of them. I've never been. No horror movie with an old lady has ever worked on me because I just find it amusing, especially when they're naked. And you're like, okay, I'm not scared by saggy titties. I'm sorry. And so in Barbarian, when she's swan diving off the thing and her tits are flapping in the wind, I'm losing my shit. not being interested or sympathetic or whatever that scene wanted me to be. So I wouldn't say this movie went that far. Barbarian was certainly scarier at times and also tried way harder to be funny at times than this. This movie was much more down the middle, which I think worked in some ways, but I also just kind of, afterward, I feel like I wanted more of the meat, more of the good stuff that was in there.
Yeah, people were very much talking about this movie in a bit of a different way online. Now, it's the high praise for sure, but the way, I was trying to avoid most of the conversation, but the way they made it seemed like it was going to be a lot scarier throughout, more like a traditional horror film. I don't know if this is a spoiler to say that the movie is split up into sections, right?
I mean, every movie is to a degree.
This in a little more direct ways than some other movies.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how much we want to say. I hate, as a critic, to ask a filmmaker or any kind of artist, why did you choose to do it that way? Because so often the answer is just, why not? They chose to do it a way that they wanted to do it. But when I watch something like this, I like that. The stylistic choices that they made, to me, didn't add anything. And I just went, why are we doing it this way? That's how I felt. I was like, there's no reason to do it that way. To me, I didn't feel like it benefited at all from doing that way. And I was just kind of like disappointed in that because I felt like there was such severe whiplash every time we shifted. And I'm like, I'm trying to keep up, but like the tonal switch was too dramatic. Yeah, we should just wait and get more into it in spoilers. I don't know. It's weird because like the horror, when they use it, is effective. Yeah. They just didn't use it enough. And like I said, they kind of just changed genres at a certain point. And I don't know. Overall, I still think I liked it. Once again, with Barbarian, though, I don't understand the love. I guess for me, technically it's a very well-made movie. I was constantly noting how much I loved the camera work. They did this multiple times where they would have the camera attached to, say, a door. And then the door is moving, and so you're watching as stuff. So whether it's a car door or some, like a house door. Yeah. And I thought that camera work was really cool. There were certain times it was very effective, whether it was for a scare or just an action shot or whatever. I thought that was really cool. Overall, thought this movie looked and sounded really great. Obviously, a lot of talent behind it. The cast is phenomenal. I love pretty much everybody involved. You know, Julia Garner's great. Josh Brolin's great. Forgetting who else. Benedict Wong. Don't see him in much, but I love him. He was really good in this. Justin Long. Tiny micro little appearance in here. Cameo.
Got his nice 30 seconds in.
Yeah, love to see his face, you know. But yeah, great cast. And I think the director's good. Like, with Barbarian, none of my complaints about Barbarian has to do with the director being talented. I think the director, Zach Cregger, I think he's a great filmmaker, technically. I just haven't really loved the movies he's chosen to make so far. And that's a me thing. Like, that is completely subjective. It has nothing to do with the talent. It has nothing to do with an objectively good movie. So it's weird to review it because I'm just like, yeah, it's fine. But if you go, oh man, I loved it, I have no way to be like, you're wrong.
Listen, I get it. You're Zach Cregger's mortal nemesis in this world.
Yeah, I fucking hate the guy. Yeah. No, I don't know. This movie I certainly liked a lot more than Barbarian, though. This movie, I forget what I gave Barbarian, but I'm going to give this a positive rating because I actually did enjoy it. I just wish the good parts were focused on more. I still haven't decided what I feel, but I would give it a positive rating. That's all I'm saying. It's a positive rating. It's better than it isn't. Justin?
I also don't remember what I gave Barbarians.
I probably gave Barbarian like a 4. That was my knee-jerk reaction.
Yeah, I could probably give this a 6.5. Now, I will be able to cement that pretty easily because there's a high probability I end up seeing this movie about 2 more times in the next couple of weeks.
6s seems like maybe, but we're going to talk about more spoilers, and as you know, that means it may go up. It also at times has made it go down. So tune in to see what we say next. Also, if you don't want anything spoiled, you should click away, go watch it, come back, and we can talk about it then. But don't forget to like, share, follow, subscribe, all that shit. Thanks, guys. Bye. So, spoilers. Yeah, so the thing we were alluding to and said, but probably cut out, is that this movie is cut up into five distinct parts.
Yeah.
Because you've got Justine, you've got...
The one father.
I'm just going to say the actors' names because I can't
Brolin.
remember. Yeah, you've got Garner, you've got Brolin, you've got Han Solo, you've got Wong, and then you've got the kid.
Yep.
So 5 parts. And the movie starts out being about her, and I thought it was weird that it said black screen Justine. I was like, why? Like, it didn't click that we were going to do multiple perspectives. And then when we first switched from her to Josh Brolin, I went, why did we do that? And then you see the one scene... Actually, no, that was during Han Solo. The only time it ever became interesting that we saw multiple people's perspective of the same scene was the bar scene, because it was so fundamentally different. Because in her version, she's sitting at the bar all self-consumed, and he walks in and she's like, oh, hey. And he's like, hey.
Yeah.
And she's like,
Can I
you
get
should have a drink. Yeah, in his version, he walks in, she gets, oh, hey, and hugs him, and then quick cut to them fucking. So you don't know if he drank or not. I assume he did because he complained about being hungover, but anyway.
No, it's just the heroin he got injected with.
Maybe it was, or the AIDS, who knows.
Or the hepatitis.
But that was the only time that you saw 2 events from 2 different perspectives that it mattered. Every other time I'm going like, okay, cool, I'm seeing them walk out of the school from Josh Brolin's perspective now. He's in the mob, not over there.
Yeah.
But what does that add to the story? And then you see, oh, well, he's the one who wrote, well, you don't ever find this out, but it's hinted at, he's the one who wrote Witch on her car.
Yeah, I expressly thought we were going to see that scene, because he has the same color paints.
Yeah,
looking around.
I thought we were going to see that he actually didn't, and we were supposed to think that, and then the crackhead did it,
I mean,
or something.
With them not showing it, and with him just seeing her, because remember he sees her pull into, what was that, the liquor store or something?
Yeah.
And she already has it painted on the car. It makes it seem like, for a split second, like that's the first time he's seeing that, even though he's got the red paint in the car.
Yeah.
So like maybe he's not, but like no one else ever gets to the explanation. And it's never really brought up again, and only makes sense about him.
So for the most part, having the multiple versions, the multiple sides of the story, multiple perspectives, added nothing. And I was like, why did we choose to do that? I don't mind having a story have multiple main characters, but to have their stories so overlapped that half the time we're not gaining any new information, we're just seeing the same thing over and over and over again. Or even, I mean, I guess the crackhead hobo guy had to be in there so the cop would be in there, but ultimately the cop and the hobo guy's characters were pointless to the plot, because ultimately all they did was open the door and wave for the main character to come in. That's all they added to the plot. They were MacGuffins. Because the hobo guy was a MacGuffin for the cop guy to go inside, and the cop guy was a MacGuffin for the main girl to go inside. That's all it was.
Yeah, it was.
They had no purpose outside of that. And I'm just like, well, what's the point of this? Half the movie's pointless.
See, I was trying to give the hobo guy some credit, and I'm just trying to rack my mind to the movie. It's just no, he really just put it on the phone and then saw the cop, and then just the cop.
I guess the other thing you could say is they get to see creepy stuff in that house before anybody else, so we get to have a reason to be creeped out about the house. You know, the kids are in there. You get to see little weird things happen in there because of them.
Yeah.
But you got enough from her looking through the window to be like, I don't trust this house.
As soon as she saw them sitting in that couch twice and they didn't even move after all that noise, or even at first, because like they didn't move, but at first I thought they got a little closer but stayed kind of in the same position. But still, that was creepy enough.
I didn't need all that.
With the newspaper covering the windows.
It felt like a short story that was stretched out into however long it was, a feature-length film though, like 2 hours. Because it was like there wasn't enough substance there. Like I just said, two of the 5 main characters are useless to this plot. Josh Brolin's even kind of useless to this plot. I guess No, that's a lie. He's the one who... Actually, it's not. Because he triangulates and says, well, they're at this house because I did this. But that is useless because it's defeated by the fact that the kids don't run in a straight line like his hypothesis said.
Hey, he just assumed they did, and he drew a really wide circle.
And she pointed somewhere in the circle.
She was like, oh, it's right there at the end of the circle.
It was below the circle. And
It was in the circle. It was at the bottom.
Line. Below the line is what I meant.
Yeah,
because he draws an X.
Yeah.
He goes, it must be here.
He's like, it's somewhere in this.
And then she's like, and down here. And so, yeah, he's kind of useless too. Now, I'm not mad because, I mean, he's involved in the plot. But, like, ultimately, the movie could have just been about her. And you wouldn't have missed anything else.
I do think Brolin...
Or just him. One or the other.
I do think together they deserve a bit more credit than...
Oh, than the other, sure.
But the rest, yeah, I agree. The rest, besides the kid, of course. But like the other
kid's
two...
a whole separate thing.
Yeah. The other two... Yeah, I wanted to give the hobo credit.
There's nothing to say. He wasn't even smart enough to, when running down an alleyway and the cop goes driving this way and then this way, he's not even smart enough to double back and run back the other way. This guy's a fucking moron.
There's so many different alleyways.
He's just running in a goddamn straight line.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. No, he's useless. And the cop wasn't much better. He literally, all he did was open the door and go like this. And then she goes inside and he does this again. And both times she listens.
Hey.
And I'm like, you're fucking insane.
Hey, he did so many important things, you know.
Like, fuck the bitch.
He told his father-in-law or whatever his guy is that they're going to be there.
Yeah.
They're going to be there for lunch or whatever. And
anniversary lunch.
He didn't go to the AA meeting.
No. He may or may not get drunk.
Just one sip.
We don't know.
Which I guess she probably doesn't know about the AA.
Yeah,
doesn't care about the AA.
That's the thing is, like, it's funny because I love all of the characters on the surface because they're all great actors, but every character in this movie is a piece of shit.
Yeah, she's like, come have a real drink with me.
Yeah.
It's like, it was pretty obvious that he didn't want to drink for whatever his reasons were.
Yeah.
And no, it's just alcohol.
Yeah. I guess Josh Brolin, Josh Brolin made... You know, Benedict Wong is not a piece of shit. There we go. There's a character who's not a piece of shit.
No, he was good all around. He just didn't want that old creepy lady in his house. I guess.
Oh, I don't blame him at all.
No.
I would have said, get the fuck off. Get away. How do you know my address? Go the fuck away.
I did like the Benedict Wong's conversation with her. It's like, have we met before? We haven't met before, right?
Yeah, I think I would remember.
Something tells me I would remember.
Yeah, no. Frankly, if the movie could have, like, a typical horror movie like this is you've got the main lady, right? Then you've got her boss who doesn't listen to her, right? Mm-hmm. And a love interest who may or may not affect the plot at all. That's 3. We had 2 extra people for no reason. You just added them in for no reason. Because even in that trio, that typical dynamic, that third guy doesn't even really matter. He's just there to fill up space. So we already have, by this standard, typical format, a pointless guy built in for fun. So we've got 3 pointless people in this plot that we just went, here you go, pointless people. It's frustrating. And then not only are they pointless, we spend a chunk of the movie focusing on them. Like the whole thing, once it's like, because you go Julia Garner, and I'm like, okay, normal movie. Yeah. Then you cut to Josh Brolin, you're like, all right, it's more of a mystery now than horror, but the occasional jump scare thrown in there. Yeah. Okay. And then it switches to the cop. I'm like, when we're in a different movie. But I'm interested because we're seeing different versions of the same scene finally. At least it finally matters that we're doing different perspectives. And then you cut to the crackhead. I'm like, oh, are we going to see something important from his perspective? Fuck no. Mm-mm. No, we're not. And then you cut to Benedict Wong, and you go, didn't need to see any of this, but cool, now he's a zombie.
And, yeah.
We know how he became a zombie. I guess that's fun, but we didn't need to have a whole chapter from his point of view. We could have had, if we did this as a standard, typical formatted movie, it could have just been the scene at him at home. And then she shows up, because we already... That's all you need, is that one scene. You don't need the rest of the movie from his perspective. Yeah, you don't need him shopping and picking Fruity Pebbles over Berry Pebbles.
But didn't you want to know that he had that conversation on the phone with her in a grocery store?
And we needed to know that he's got a loving, supportive gay husband. That's important for some reason.
Who's very friendly, inviting people into
Very
their
friendly.
house. A little overly friendly.
Yeah, get the fuck out. And then you ask to drink out of a bowl. Yeah, no, sorry, that's strike 2.
It's like, you drinking sake or water? I've only seen.
Are you a cat?
I've only seen a few people drink out bowls, and this ain't one of them.
Yeah, I'll drink out of a bowl if it's ramen.
Now, how big of a bowl? How much water am I filling in the bowl? I thought.
Yeah, he barely put any water in there.
Yeah, I thought that might have been something. I thought that
she
was
wasn't
funny.
gonna do anything to him until he did that, and she took it personally, and she's like, "All right, I guess I'm fucking you up."
Because like at this point when he gets the bowl from her, because like, yeah, the importance of his scene is to explain how her voodoo works, essentially.
Yeah, which we didn't need, because we got that from the kid anyway.
Yeah, we got it later from the kid, but
Yeah.
this.
That's what I'm saying. We didn't need it.
To an extent, makes sense. I guess.
All we needed from Benedict Wong was to see her show up at his door, and then it could have cut away if we're doing this in a linear storytelling, not the repeatingly going back.
Yeah.
So it would be like cutting back and forth between Josh Brolin and Julia Garner. Then they meet up, and then he comes running out. Sometime right before that, we would see her showing up at his door. Sometime a couple scenes earlier, and then he comes sprinting, and we go, she did something to him, don't know what. And then later, when we get the kids' side of the story, then we see that shit.
Makes sense.
That's the only time we had to double back, was to show the kids' perspective of the whole story.
Yeah.
That was the only time we should have done it. Everything else felt pointless. That's what I'm saying. Like, I hate to ask why, because when you ask an artist why, like I said, the response usually is, why not? I wanted to tell it that way, but I'm going, what the fuck did that add? It just felt like we were repeating shit for no reason, for the most part. There was, like I said, one variation in there.
Yeah.
Everything else was the same thing. I didn't need that. It added nothing to me.
No, it definitely didn't add a lot. I get the concept, but like, yeah, you're right. It definitely could have been done a different way.
I just needed a reason for it to be done.
Because, we like to
Be different.
be mysterious.
Yeah, sure.
Only see part of a situation, then get another part of the situation, then get another part of the situation.
But it's
Then
all the
have
same
kid
part.
Wrap it up.
There was no added context other than Josh Brolin may or may not have written on her car, which didn't change my life at all. It just made me go, oh, he's kind of a piece of shit.
But you got to see him dip into her story while he's doing his own thing, and then
Oh! Wow!
then you got to see.
Sound like a Rick and Morty character there. Oh! It was very interesting to me to finally see, because if we're being honest, this is the first legitimate zombie movie in decades, as far as that I am aware of, because the original zombie movies were voodoo-based possession movies. That's where the term zombie comes from, and then it became viruses and infections and all this other shit. This is the first zombie movie in a long time, and I was like, I'm actually kind of happy to see old school zombies back.
Yeah, in that regard, I can't think of anything recently, although, I'm not huge on the genre. I don't. Yeah, no.
But that was like when I really started to enjoy the movie, because I was fine with it at first when I was doing the slow burn creepy stuff.
All right.
It was nothing special, but I liked it.
17 kids go Naruto running off into the...
T-posing off into the wild.
Yeah, that's
I get
pretty
intrigued.
interesting.
But when it really got good was, albeit it was a funny moment, but the children screaming after her, and she's just running through various people's houses and across lawns, and it switched, the camera style switched to like 28 days later, and I was like, hell yeah, I love this. Is better than 28 years later. I'm loving this.
That scene was just so great, because it's not just like, all right, fine, they chase her through like 2 houses and they catch her. No, you just had to do like 5-6 houses.
Yeah, and the camera work, and I already mentioned the camera work was great, but that part too was impeccable. It was like all of those great zombie movies where it's like it's following directly behind the one zombie, in this case a little girl though, smashing through, and she's like following directly behind her, but then she sees a shortcut.
Yeah,
and,
she cuts her off.
That was such a good moment.
No.
And then they like all ganging around her, and it's the classic zombie thing where they're all just reaching, pulling shit, but then they each like get a hand in her mouth and just pull at the top of her head off, and then you see later that like her one arm's over here, other arm's over there.
Yeah, they definitely tore her.
Oh, that 10 minutes made the whole movie worth it to me. I didn't love the rest of the movie, but that scene was fucking great. That was maybe the best scene I've seen this year.
Interesting.
It's up there. It was great.
I just... was it the first or second house they went through? It was the one with the family.
Yeah.
They had to run through. It was just straight through the single...
Now there's a man in our kitchen.
Oh my gosh. And then all the kids burst through the windows and then burst through the second set of windows. Oh
it was very early 2000s zombie movie coded.
So
and I love that. They just nailed that style.
Yeah.
Like, it reminded me, like I said, of 28 Days Later. It reminded me of Shaun of the Dead, too. Just the way it was filmed. I was just like, all of this stuff, I was just like, this is peak cinema right now, and I'm so happy. But it was weird because like the rest of the movie, it was giving me strong, like, it reminded me a lot of Cuckoo. It reminded me a lot of Bring Her Back, where the whole time I'm going, man, this looks great, this feels great, sounds great, and then the movie's over. I'm like, I'm never gonna really think about that again. You know, and that's how I feel about this, where there was definitely great moments. Like Cuckoo, I still think about a couple of things. I think about the bike scene, which was in the trailer, still visually amazing.
Yeah.
And I think about, frankly, Hunter Schafer being awesome. Those are the two things I think about. And Bring Her Back, similar thing, where I think about like, there was this one fun visual, like him biting the table. I'll think about that, or him biting the knife, something like that, or the circle. Salt circle.
Yeah.
This movie, I'm sure it's the same thing, where I'm gonna be thinking about that chase scene at the end, and I'm gonna be thinking about one or two of the jump scares, maybe a little bit of humor, but like this movie just, I don't know, it's not gonna leave an impact on me, and I'm kind of disappointed because it felt like the quality was good enough that it could be top 10 movie of the year, and I'm just like, I don't know if it's making top 25, you know?
I don't know that it would make my top 10. Like I was saying, I enjoy the movie. I just don't feel like I'm enjoying it nearly as much as the internet
everybody else.
is.
Yeah. It's a fine movie. I think fine's the best way to put it, though.
This is... I try not to be this way at movies, because I know not every good thing has to have an explanation. Some things are better for not having an explanation.
Yeah, and that's the next point I want to get into.
I just needed something for that.
Yeah. That's where it's like, I think that's why I brought up Bring Her Back and Cuckoo, because they all had the sense of emptiness when it was over, and that's why I'm sorry. Same thing as you. Actually, I don't apologize for it, but for me, especially in horror, I need there to be an explanation or a reason to care.
Yeah.
Because I guess, frankly, maybe not in zombie movies. If it's a really dumb horror movie, which the point is to be scary and no other reason, I can accept that. But this movie is artistic. This movie screams that it is an allegorical horror movie. It screams it at you. And then the whole time you're going, what the hell is it about then? So you brought up, even before they showed the gun, I think, maybe...
Yeah, no...
it was a allegory for a school shooter. Did you say it first, or did I say it first?
I said it when I saw the gun. I
was thinking before that.
I didn't think about that for a second before that, and I saw the gun and went, is this a school shooter thing now?
Yeah, I was thinking that because there was one kid, the rest of the kids in his class who bullied him are all gone, and he came from a broken house. So I was thinking, allegory for school shooter, maybe? And then they show this giant gun in the sky with a .217, and the whole time I'm going like, there has to be a meaning. Google it. Is there a meaning for .217? Because even after the movie's over, I still don't get why the number was such a big deal.
It
might not be.
I just started to think that's when she finished the ritual.
It is, but why did they make such a big deal out of it? If, that's another one it reminded me of. What was the one with the detective lady, Nicholas? Oh, that is Longlegs. Yeah, I guess it did remind me of Longlegs too, now that I think about it. Because that same thing, when it was over, I was like, what was the point?
According to the AI overview.
Oh, shit! Okay. See? All right, bump it up. 217 is commentary. It's a reference to trying to get assault weapons banned in the United States. That's how many votes it got.
Huh.
So, okay, there we go. That's the shit I was waiting for. That immediately makes this movie so much better. Because there's meaning.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Because I do believe that this movie is a commentary on that. See, this is where the rating has a chance to go up. We were making it go down. Now it might go up. This is why you tune until the end. You don't click away, motherfuckers.
Apparently Trevor Moore passed away at 2:17.
So that's a really weird coincidence then with the votes.
Wild.
Yeah, I would be obsessed with that number too. Maybe, honestly, and I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I wonder if, 217, and he just like Googled it because he was trying to deal with the loss of his friend, and so he just Googled 217 to see what would pop up, and then that popped up.
I did read that the writing of this movie was completed in parts to deal with the trauma. So.
Yeah, I don't want to obviously speak on his behalf,
No
but
idea,
it's like
but...
I wouldn't be shocked if like that number just was ingrained in his brain because that's when he got a text or a call or something about it, and then he sees this other 217, whether it's on the news or he Googled it or whatever, and he just made that connection there because this movie is a commentary on a couple things. Because I also tried to Google it, trying to figure out the reasoning of this movie, and he said it was personal commentary on not just broken homes, but specifically drug-based broken homes. That's the whole zombie connection, is because when your parents are on drugs, they become zombies, and then you have to be the parent, you have to take care of them, which is what happens to him in the movie, the kid in this movie. And then because of that, you can't be a normal person at school. He's already dealing with all this stress, and ultimately that's what school shooters are often found to be, is that they just don't have a normal home life. That's like a pretty common factor, is that the parents and the kids don't get along great. Because if you have an outlet like a parent to be able to work through things like a normal, healthy child, you're not going to go to that point where you're going to shoot people. So that's what I believe this movie is an allegory for. And I appreciate that, and it does make me like the movie more. I'll admit, though, my critiques of this movie still stand, where I'm like, I just don't entirely understand why we chose to portray it the way we did. As far as the multiple different perspectives, not really adding anything to it, the complete and utterly wild change in vibe from scene to scene and tone, and the continuity stuff, like being like, oh, well, they all ran in a straight line so we can find the house because it's this way. Oh, but they don't run in a straight line.
See, I feel like the straight line was just an assumption because they all leave the house
in a straight line. Yeah.
And
but then it's not important to the plot.
No, because I just want to see that scene again just to see how he drew the circle.
Yeah.
It's just like, all right, they triangulate somewhere over here, and then he just draws a big circle. And it's like, oh yeah, right in there.
And then even if it's coming from a perspective of it's a school shooting thing, I hate to say this, it's a little bit tacky. The giant gun over top the house.
See, the thing, like I'm trying to think of it because I get what you're saying about the isolation and him being the only one there of the 17 kids not being there, and how that made you think school shooter. I always get that these sort of movies are usually allegorical to some sort of situation.
Yeah.
But I was a little too wrapped up in 17 kids go missing in the middle of the night to catch any of that. Yeah. So, just me thinking, without that assault rifle, over the top, heavy-handed as hell.
Heavy-handed.
Without that, I don't know if I would have gotten it. But of course, you do that, I immediately get it. So no, I did not get Parkland. There was no way in hell I was ever getting that connection without looking that up. But school shooting, you put it AR.
And then the whole aunt thing, like, I guess somebody needs to turn the parents into zombies, but like that just feels odd too, because now it's like we're blaming her. And what was her goal? I'm
so confused.
I know, I say this all the time with allegories, like, you don't ask why the rabbit and the tortoise raced because it's an allegory. But I'm like, in this specific case, I just go, what was her goal? Why did she kidnap all the kids and put them in the basement? What was she doing? What was her end goal? And now we're leaving tomorrow. To go where? Do what? Kidnap more kids? And I guess that's like, here we go, super, over the top, thinking about it too much, senseless violence. There is no reason. It's just violence that could be prevented easily.
But it's stuff like that. I get it. You don't always have to explain everything, but oh my gosh, what? Because fine, the tortoise and the hare. At least there's a lesson at the end of that.
It's also a short story.
Yeah. That
when you've got 2 hours and you're just rambling about shit, I just go, get to the point.
It's like the whole time they're playing up she's sick.
I never believed her for being sick.
I didn't at first either. But then as she goes on, you start to see, oh, she kind of does seem very sickly in a way. Or she's really old or something. Yeah, she's very not right.
She was just a witch.
I thought the whole play on the kids was going to be some sort of like aging, immortality, fountain of youth sort of situation.
Like that. You know what it does remind me of, too? Which maybe this is what he was going for, because in that article where he explained the ending, he also said...
Which I haven't heard.
He also alludes to it being a modern-day fairy tale, which he didn't... I was skimming, so maybe he referenced specific ones, but I didn't see a specific one he referenced, and that makes me think of Pied Piper.
But yeah, I mean, a bunch of kids go missing. Yeah, Pied Piper is the immediate.
Yeah, especially because it's zombies, which is what he kind of does to the kids in Pied Piper. They're not zombies, but they are under a spell. Yeah, so I guess I do appreciate it because of the deeper meaning, but I still have issues with the execution.
I will rack my head around her for the aunt or whatever for a while. I just don't.
I think she may just represent senseless violence. She might. Or it could just be toxic family environment. Something that... Because if you're saying the parents are zombies because either drug addiction or alcohol or whatever, having shitty relatives is something that could drive you to that. So maybe just the presence of the aunt made the parents go off the deep end, in theory, in this allegory. Or maybe she was drug addicted and she got them into it. That's something that could be... Drug addiction and alcoholism is hereditary in a lot of ways. Yeah. Also, why did... And I know the answer to the allegory version of this because all the kids are still dead. But when he did the whatever spell he did, he cracked the thing, whatever. Some people came out of this zombification, right?
Yeah.
Josh Brolin came out of his zombification.
He came out perfectly fine.
Nobody else did.
So my only thought about that was he was under the least amount of time out of all those people that we saw under who were still alive. He had only just been put under when he got caught by her in the attic. Creepy scene. So
yeah, I guess what, that also, because the cop, everybody's got an addiction. Maybe not, but the cop was an alcoholic. The homeless guy was shooting heroin. Benedict Wong...
Food?
Addicted to dick.
Dick and food.
But
they had those 8 hot dogs total.
Yeah, that was a lot of hot dogs. He loves wieners. That's Benedict Wong loves Wangs. Dongs, ding, ding.
The connections,
they're piling up. We're shooting off now. But yeah, main girl was an alcoholic too. She was drinking 2 bottles of vodka a night, or whatever it was, tequila, something clear. I'm not sure.
Oh yeah, that was a lot of vodka. With her,
I don't know what Josh Brolin's issue was. Was he... Something's wrong because he couldn't remember anything. It could just be depression, but he couldn't remember anything anymore. He was getting the paint color wrong. He never ordered the dirt.
So, okay, yeah, that's the thing with like everybody as an addict. Her addiction seemed like it was just tied to her now being the target of everybody in the town because the kids are missing.
Well, sure, everybody's got a reason to use.
Brolin also seemed completely tied to his kid being gone, but there was the one thing they said where he was like dreaming and saw his kid in the bed.
Yeah.
And it was like, I should have told you, I couldn't tell you, even though I always felt... It's like he never told his kid he loved him or something.
Which is wild. Yeah.
It's
yeah, I'm starting to... Because this is leading me back to Antlers, another allegory for using... or addiction.
Yeah.
I think that one did it a little bit better, although nobody likes that movie.
I'm thinking back, because I remember when it first started with them in class, right?
Okay.
And on the board, there was like parasite information.
Yeah, why were they talking about that?
I'm trying to think of how that could, because I was trying to think, is that supposed to be her role? Is she a parasite to the family? But I don't get
Oh, I thought it was just zombie stuff.
See, but
Because,
I'm just trying to think of things now.
Because they're talking about when Wong is at home and they're watching TV when she shows up.
Yeah.
They're talking about this parasite that's a zombie parasite that takes over the brains of
Yeah.
ants. And so I'm like, okay, so, and at this point I've completely rejected the gun thing. I'm still confused about the giant gun in the sky. But I'm like, all right, this isn't about school shooters anymore. We're just talking about zombies.
Right.
And so I'm like, okay, I'm in tune with the zombie thing now. And that's why I'm just like, I don't get, like, there was no consistency from scene to scene and what this movie felt like it was about. Unless they were just like, haha, zombies, fun stuff, but also, yes, there's an allegory. It didn't make sense to me.
I don't get it either, because I do remember the fungus, yeah, that zombifies the ants before it, like, grows
Yeah.
out of them and killing them or whatever.
Yeah.
But, like, okay, fine, she's making zombies, but where's her... You know, even I'm pretty sure that parasite still gets, you know, the nutrients and such from living off the host.
Mm-hmm.
It might have made sense, or more complete sense, if maybe it was clear that she actually was sick and something she was doing was
Yeah.
trying to make her better, even if we
she
didn't
had
get
a
a full
clear
explanation.
motivation, whether
Yeah.
it was gaining something from them, like absorbing their life force, or if she was just doing it to get by, like the homeless guy who was constantly stealing stuff. That was my favorite thing about it, was every car he passed, he was trying to open it.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah,
yep.
I love that.
That happened to me in Wilmington. My car was broken into because I left it unlocked by accident, and somebody just came in and went through all my papers. I didn't have anything valuable, so they just went through the papers and then left, but I was like, that's not cool.
See, it's crazy. I live at I consider incredibly safe apartment complex. Like,
Sure.
nothing really ever happens there. Most of our neighbors are wary enough of each other not to start robbing each other, because that'd be a bad cycle. But we had a bad power outage once where the lights didn't come on for hours, and my roommate's car got robbed because he used to leave his car door unlocked in the parking lot because who's checking cars. It was funny because they didn't steal any of his expensive stuff. They took his change and a couple of loose bills. But no, he got robbed as soon as it went dark.
But yeah, so it's just like, to me, this movie, maybe a rewatch would solve my issues with it.
I want to say that, but I just feel like I'm still missing it.
Yeah.
Because even a rewatch, sure, maybe I might have been a bit more convinced about the school shooter angle.
That's
to
definitely
a point.
Yeah, that's definitely part of it.
I definitely still would have forgotten about that after the gun with the rest of the story, especially when we start to delve into the aunts and she becomes a much more prominent character.
Yeah.
I definitely would have forgotten about that again, and I still never would have made the Parkland connection.
I don't think that's important to make that connection, though. It's definitely weird how much they lean into the 217 of it all, but I don't think it's necessary.
No, it's not necessary. It explains a lot, though.
Yeah.
And, you know, even if I just walked out of this saying, oh, yeah, I'm positive this is about school shootings.
Yeah. That's
even if I
me.
just felt that way,
Kind of.
I might have, I don't need to get it's exactly Parkland.
Yeah.
But at least
That's
I would have
how I
felt,
feel, yeah.
Okay, I get the whole messages through. I got that just because of the AR, realistically.
Yeah, which is the part that I hated the most. Which I was just like, what are we doing? Why? A lot of the dream stuff, it just seemed like he was feeding us, like sprinkling in horror just so we wouldn't get bored.
Mm-hmm.
It was how the first half of this movie felt, was I was like, you're just doing this so we don't get up and leave. And it just, a lot of that, there we go. Biggest issue with this movie is it felt like there was a lot of producer notes. You need to make it more obvious. Put a giant gun in the sky. You need to make it more interesting. Put some scary stuff in here. And it felt like a studio was interfering in that way, and that's why I don't like it, because if we're going to do the super deep, super subtle, super convoluted thing, why is there some dumbass shit force-fed throughout the beginning? That's why I come away from this going like, man, I really love aspects of this. I really love what they were going for. I just didn't always love the execution. And I think a rewatch will confirm that. My rating's gone up the more we've talked about it, but I think there's a ceiling here. Because as much as I want to like it, there's still shit where I'm like, half the characters are useless and pointless. I guess you could argue they've got a little bit more of a point now because they're all addicts in some way. But I still think the way we gave each one of them this section of plot was completely pointless. It was not earned by most of them, and they could have just and should have just been side characters. And so when I walk away from this movie, I'm going, that was good, not great. And I think the hype is just because it's entertaining. And man, that last scene is fucking entertaining. I get it. It is. But it's the same thing with a lot of movies. And we say this every year where, you know, the movies that appease the lowest common denominator while still being good enough that critics like them are going to be the movies that everybody raves about. And we go, why? You know, it happened with, my favorite example is always Top Gun Maverick, where that movie's a good, not great movie, but it appeases to the masses, and so people go, amazing! And I'm like, you need to watch more movies! And so it was the same thing with Barbarian, I think, because you get a little bit of artsiness in there, and the critics gobble it up, but then it's fun and stupid enough that everybody who likes dumb horror movies enjoys it. But yeah, you see that every year. People love a tinge of artsiness. Not too much, because then they get overwhelmed. Yeah. You just put in a sprinkle, like Oppenheimer. That is one of Nolan's worst movies, but it got all the praise because you sprinkle in some artsiness and then make people think you're saying something important, and then show some Florence Pugh titties, and everybody goes, yes, more.
Yeah, all the cameos too,
Yeah.
and the titties.
It was like the fucking Avengers. It's like, oh my god, there's another person.
What other movie would have Robert Downey Jr. and Josh Peck in the same movie? All right.
Or fucking wasn't it fucking Diary of a Wimpy Kid's Roderick? Roderick was in it, wasn't he?
I think so. Yeah.
What were you gonna look up?
I don't actually know. I'm just looking up random stuff about weapons now. Weapons. Old lady experience.
Yeah, the fucking name of the movie became so painful once they started getting into that. Oh, that's actually something that I was gonna think about, but then I kind of stopped myself short, and then I just made the connection. So he has a line in there, Josh Brolin does, about how the kids were running like projectile, like or I forget the word, like heat-seeking weapons.
Yeah.
And the movie is called Weapons, and it's because it's about mass shootings and guns and weapons, right?
Right.
But the kids are the weapons in this case,
Right.
because it's an often talked about subject of using children as political weapons. Because you use kids to get people's sympathy and approval to get your agenda through. So that's another little piece of commentary in there, and that's why the movie is called Weapons, I would think.
I see that.
That's interesting. Everything I'm saying about this movie is going like, it should be your favorite movie of the year. I'm like, but it's not for some reason. Maybe I should rewatch it. Maybe I'd like it more on a second watch.
You're right. We'll turn it around right now.
Well, I don't think there's another showing tonight.
And we'll break
It's
it.
2 a.m. I think we're going to leave it there. I'm willing to give it a soft 7 now after having talked about it, but I need to rewatch it, and I need to take some time with it. That is the drawback of first thoughts, is you don't have time to really think about and decide what you like about a movie. It's such a gut reaction. And there have been times where I've said in the past, like, oh, this is for sure on my top 10 list, and it was nowhere close. And then other times I was like, yeah, that was like a 5. And then it ended up being on my top 10 list. So this could be that. Not that I'm giving it a 5. I said I'm giving it a soft 7. But this is a movie that I do genuinely believe if I rewatch it, I think I'll like it more. The biggest threat to that is my desire to rewatch it isn't very strong. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Definitely an improvement over Barbarian, though. Definitely an improvement.
Always nice to see a director trending in the correct direction.
Yeah, the right direction. I love talking for an hour and feeling like I didn't say anything. Thanks for watching, guys, or listening, wherever you do it. I do appreciate it. Please remember to like, share, especially. Spread the word. It helps us grow out our hair, beards.
Yeah, it's always growing.
Noses.
Other places.
Bye. I'm not even gonna finish. Just, you know what to do. Listen to your heart.
And it's going.
That's some of the worst advice you can give somebody. Do whatever your most base desire is.